to the comic shop. I'll let you read about Cyclops. I'll have you spending all you got. Jawbreakers is looking hot. Zach.
Another totally awesome comic review from Testosterone Overload. Take one.
Big Legit, back in the house, ready to talk about another totally awesome comic book review for all you beautiful people in Webtown. And what kind of comic reviews do we do? The kind that move the needle. And I'm excited. I'm excited. I know my boy Zach at Diversity in Comics would also be excited about this. Because today I'm talking about our boy Cable. Bam, look what I found in X-Force #1. Still in the polybag, first issue collector's item. This sold 1 million copies, baby. Can you believe that? This comic book moved the needle like few comics did. Like very few comics did. And it comes with a free official Marvel superhero trading card enclosed that's available only with this collector's edition. So here's what's gonna happen. You can see this was $2.25 back in the day. What's about to happen right now? We're about to open this mother up. Whew. Here it comes. Hope you're excited. Boom. Let's look at our trading card, huh? What? Who'd we get? What'd we get? What'd we get? We get an X-Force card t-shirt. So you can get this t-shirt with one of these cards on it. My boy Shatterstar, I know some people dogged him, but I liked him. I thought Mojo World was actually like pretty cool myself, and it definitely intrigued me. And this is a comic book that everybody knows moved the needle because it sold mad issues, mad copies. This comic sold mad copies. There you see a beautiful, absolutely beautiful wraparound cover by my boy Rob. We see all of the cool characters. Cannonball. Thunderbird? It's been a while. Forget the Native American character's name. I know that makes me a racist. There's Domino, before she was black. That makes Marvel a racist. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go read this, and this is something also cool that I always thought was really neat, was the 50 years of Captain America, 1941 to 1991. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go read this comic book right now, and then we're going to come back and we're going to give it a great review. Look at that. That is sexy. Warpath, not Thunderbird, Warpath. Oh, what an idiot I am. Okay, I'm going to go read this. This is by Rob Liefeld. The words are by Fabian Nacho Cheese. Came out in August of '91. I'm super stoked about this because I loved X-Force when I was a kid. Man, it's been 25 years since I read this guy. So I'm gonna go check it out. I'm gonna leave you guys to watch this.
So how long have you been drawing comic books?
Since I was about 7 years old, little kid.
What did your parents think about it?
They hated it. They hated it. Oh yeah. After I got a job and they saw that you can make a living out of it, you'll hear no complaints anymore.
And you created X-Force?
Mm-hmm.
So what is the drawing of?
This is the Spike Man.
And what's this right here?
This is the camera on top of your head that will record the wrongdoings of others.
So Rob, have you had any formal art training?
No. Just a lot of imagination, I think. Wait so I say it and then look down? Or just open it and say it.
Fly button?
And we're back! X-Force #1 on the agenda here today on the Testosterone Overload. Totally awesome comic book review. You just saw me bust this beautiful bad boy out of a poly bag it had been carefully preserved in for over 25 years. To give you a little bit of backstory on this comic book, Rob Liefeld was the penciler on New Mutants, beginning with issue 86. On issue number 100, it was revealed that New Mutants was being canceled. And everyone who read it was shocked because Rob's art was so great. And well, of course, on the last page of New Mutants number 100, they revealed that X-Force was coming that summer. So New Mutants number 100 was released April of '91. X-Force appeared August of '91 with incredible art by Rob Liefeld and a fantastic story by Fabian Nicieza. So basically, let me just go ahead and get through it here with you guys. X-Force is going to try to take on the Mutant Liberation Front, often referred to in the comic as MLF. Children of the Atom, born as mutants with fantastic powers and abilities, bound together as soldiers fighting a dirty war for the survival of their species. So they bust into the HQ here of the MLF, and they have to fight all the drones, low-level drones. Everyone loves low-level drones almost as much as they love Battletoads. Man, it's been compared to Battletoads, turtles seem like pond scum. Yes, this is possibly where Ethan Van Sciver got the inspiration for Cyber Frog. This might be. It might be the turtles, and it might be the Battletoads combined together, created a Cyber Frog. When you mix them with Cable's arm, all of a sudden it all becomes clear. All becomes clear. Just like how the Wachowskis stole the Matrix by combining Johnny Mnemonic with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Boom, you get the Matrix. Combine Cable with Ninja Turtles and Battle Frogs. Boom, Battletoads. Boom. So anyways, our boys in X-Force and our girls are taking on the MLF, who are still, I think, my favorite supervillain team. I mean, nothing compares to the Sinister Six, right? And Spider-Man, nothing can compare to the Sinister Six. It's not even fair because those were individual villains who all united. So it's a little different. This is the MLF, and they were really cool. They were led by Strife. And there's this great fight right here between Reaper, who I thought was really cool. Look at him. Isn't he cool looking? He's kind of like Deadpool with the eye thing. Rob developed this whole eye thing, you know. You can see it on all over. You see it on Deadpool, you see it on Domino, you see it on Reaper, you'll see it on Wildside here too. Right here. And I don't know what it means, but I do think it's cool. Buck Rogers. It's the 90s, baby. So Shatterstar and Reaper have this awesome fight where Shatterstar hacks his hand off. And Reaper's like, you're not going to kill me. It's not your way. Shatterstar, my way and the way of my mates may be two completely different things, Reaper. Lucky for you, I'm willing to temper my actions on this world to suit those of my new comrades in arms. For the time being, at least. So he spares his life, even though he cut his hand off. And look how they very carefully placed that word bubble right over the severed hand. Very, very smart. And the black blood, also cool. And this X-Force shirt is totally awesome. It's too bad this is the back. This should be the front, and this should be the back. I would rock this today. $10.95, you could have got this shirt back then. What a deal. What a deal. By the way, did I mention that this comic book right here, this incredibly sexy X-Force #1, it sold 5 million copies. Let me say it again, 5 million copies. Now that is something that does indeed move the needle. If there was ever a comic book that moved the needle, you're looking at it right now. You can also talk about Youngblood #1, which Rob followed this up with. You can talk about Spawn #1. You can talk about Spider-Man #1. You can talk about another comic by Jim Lee in this family of titles, X-Men #1, and we'll get into all that. But since we're talking about comics that move the needle, you're looking at one. The art, The Great Story by Fabian Nacho Cheese. That's what moves the needle. Good story and good art. So then Forearm grabs Cable and is just going to bear hug him to death, which I think is cool. I thought Forearm was a cool character too. Warpath comes up behind him. Looks like he's about to give him the double axe handle. Kapow, man! Kicks him all the way out of the panel. Isn't that fun? You didn't see this in Valiant. No way, man. Rob is one of those guys, you know, all those Image guys made comics so much more dynamic. It's just night and day. Night and day difference. And my boy Strife appears on the scene. We have to nail Strife. Indeed you do, Cable. Indeed you do. Thumbelina, contact 0. Begin teleportation of the remaining MLF members to a safer location. Mr. Sinister and Strife are my two favorite Marvel villains because they look friggin' awesome. Now, Zach over at Diversity and Comics, he can talk about how cool Cable is, but let's face it, Strife is actually cooler than Cable. And now here's Thumbelina. She's like the prototype for your favorite SJW females. She has the variant purple hair instead of the blue hair, but definitely similar look on her face, similar body type to your favorite female SJWs. And my boy Strife tells her that we need to contact Zero, begin teleportation of the remaining MLF members to a safer location. Something kind of fun you can do here in the 21st century when you read these back, replace MLF, put an I in there, and just make it MILF. And then it adds a whole new like level. It's like almost like a drinking game. Whole new context when it becomes the MILF members instead of the Mutant Liberation Front. So anyways, you know, I don't know what is up with this like place he is. It's like multicolored Cerebro. I don't know. It's like he's in Atlantic City or something having a great time. So anyways, Farrell, she gets in this fight with Wildside, probably because they have exactly the same haircut. He's awesome looking. Like all these characters Rob develops just looks cool. And then Farrell grabs him, you know, fish hooks him. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Oh yeah, she does. I'll come around to hear what you have to say real soon. Say in a few months when your jaw heals. So she breaks Wildside's jaw. And she's gonna kill him, but Cable stops her just in time. Zero appears through the teleportation. Also Zero, man. This is a really cool looking character. He never speaks. He just does Strife's bidding. He's like the herald of Strife, the way Silver Surfer is the herald of Galactus. So he teleports Wildside away. Good to see you. His jaw's broken. Get it? I like that. I think that's very clever. Thank you, Fabian Nicieza, for that. And then, of course, Strife, like they catch up to Strife. And, but, you know, Strife just jumps through the teleportation with Zero too. And Domino gets the drop on Forearm. And then Cable has them teleported. Body slide. That's what they call their teleportation, the body slide, which is actually really cool. Makes me think of the TV show Sliders, starring Jerry O'Connell. Remember that one? Where were we? So they end up like getting back in their rocket ship, flying all the way back to where they're from, which is the Adirondack Mountains. But anyways, down in Manhattan the next day, Gideon and Sunspot are practicing fighting, and they're gonna go meet up with a chick because they're trying to, you know, get control of a corporation. No longer am I the new mutant, the novice student. I would certainly say so. In fact, it's time to advance you to the next step. You have learned to understand power. Now, you have to learn how to use it. That wasn't a very good Gideon voice, was it? And I don't know why his hair is white here when it's supposed to be green. Gideon was also a character I thought was really cool just because he had this like green ponytail. But they don't do it well enough in this. It almost looks like it's striped. I don't really care for that. You can join the Science Fiction Book Club and choose any 5 books for $1. So anyways, in Antarctica, Commander Bridge appears because this is, you know, if you remember, this is where they started at. Antarctica, June 4th. This is where they found the Mutant Liberation Front. And now this is Commander Bridge, and he is basically like on Cable's tail. He wants a piece of Cable. He knows Cable is there. Contact Fury. Tell him the sit-op is under control. Yes, Commander. Anything else? Yes. Call me George. I don't like titles or labels. Hero, villain, human, mutant. None of it matters squat to me. Only right and wrong. And in this particular case, it's starting to become crystal clear. Cable and his little army of toy soldiers have to be brought down. And then we go back to the Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York, which is where X-Force is hiding out inside of this mountain, which I think is cool that they hide in a mountain. And they're all just getting used to their new quarters. It's kind of cramped. They thought they'd have their own rooms. They don't get their own rooms. Cannonball comes down to talk to Cable, who's working on the ship. I like this dialogue here a lot. Are you listening to me? Yep. Need a hand with the diagnostic check? Nope. Can I ask you a question? Yep. We had the MLF in the palm of our hands yesterday. Why'd we let him get away? We severely crippled both their operations and their manpower. To have tried to go beyond that would have jeopardized our unit more than I would have preferred. I wasn't sure that you cared about us one way or the other. I do. But you held us back. Are you afraid of Strife killing one of us? The way he killed your son? Now we get character development. Here we go. A slight misconception. Born of your old friend Richter's naivete, the young man in question was named Tyler. He was like a son to me, not my flesh and blood. A part of my soul, maybe, but not my body. We worked together, much like I do with X-Force now. After a year or so, we drifted apart. He hooked up with Strife in the MLF. Then what happened? He died during a terrorist operation. It was a position he was placed in by Strife. I have several reasons for wanting to see that armored maggot dead. Tyler's death is only one of them. You never told me any of this. Why? You never asked. Every day I learn something about you that either makes me want to bust you one or respect you even more. And then super sexy Domino walks in this really nice little outfit here that really shows off her cans good. Wait, don't tell me you're reenacting your favorite scenes from Love Connection, right? See, we're going to be back in 2 and 2. Domino, a pleasure, as always. Shoot, I'm late for our workout. And so then, Cable reveals that he's got this power to just, control items, make them lift up into the ground and move around at his own will. And she's like, what are you doing? Like, the kids don't know about this. And he's like, oh, I don't care, they're not around. I wouldn't be doing it if they were around. And she's like, well, if you're going to hold back on telling these kids everything there is to know about you, you'd better be prepared to sing like a canary if they catch you pulling stunts like that. When it's time for them to learn, they'll learn. Fine. Just don't expect them to jump through hoops without barking once in a while. Their bark is nothing compared to my bite. From now on, just be a little more discreet, okay? So then we cut to Manhattan, the World Trade Center, the Jankos meeting. Gideon and DaCosta, that's Sunspot. They come in, they meet this hot chick, and Gideon's like flirting with her. What's the smell of, what's that perfume you're wearing? Blah, 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 blah. And then, this is Janko. I am Ariana Jankos. This meeting was called in order to buy out what remains of my company holdings against my better wishes. I'm just pretending she's Russian. I don't know if she is. Allow me to introduce you to a gentleman who is going to prevent that from happening. His name is Tom Cassidy. And they're like, what? Black Tom? This is trouble. And Gideon's like, no, slow your roll. Let's just see what the game is here. Oh, the lovely lady, Ariana. I don't think he would be Russian. I think he's more of a, he's Banshee's cousin, so he's gonna be an Irishman. The lovely lady, Ariana, has requested the pleasure of my company to ensure that she does not lose hers. That's a great line. She's requested the pleasure of his company so that she doesn't lose her own company, which they're trying to buy out. In order to do that, we'll need to extort scads of money from your respective corporations. Indeed, scads. So for the next few hours, days, weeks even, you will all be my unwilling guests. To be less coy about the deal, call yourselves my hostages. What? And we're going to change the scene. All of a sudden, we're over the Laurentian Mountains of Quebec, Canada. June 6th, the day later. Has the call been routed through? Yes, Commander Bridge, but the colonel isn't very happy. He never is. Ah, Nicholas, good morning. So here's Nick Fury. This better be good, Bridge. The Mutant Liberation Front base in Antarctica was trashed. Definite signs of high-tech activity. Same signature to the weaponry. Bigger than a John Hancock. Who was Cable? AIM I can deal with. Hydra's like a kiss from my grandmother. But this guy, what's his game? You have the authority to do whatever's necessary, Bridge. Just bring him in. Understood, Nicholas. Bridge out. It has to come down to this, didn't it? I shouldn't be surprised. Out of all of us, you were always an enigma. The silent explosion, we called you. Bridge to comm center. Comm center here. Patch me through on a security access line to General Clark and Canadian military. I want Department K brought in on this. It's time to call in Weapon X. Of course it's to be continued. Boom! Man, did that not make you want to pick up issue 2? Let me tell you, you're going to want to go to your comic shop. You're going to want to buy X-Force #1. You're going to want to buy X-Force #2. You're going to want to buy the whole run until Rob leaves and starts Youngblood #1 at Image Comics. Because this is a comic book that will continue to move the needle for years to come. And the reason why is not because it was super popular back in '91 and sold 5 million incredible copies that made Marvel a fortune that year, a big fortune. You're going to want to buy it because it holds up to time. The art is still just as enjoyable today as it was 25 years ago. The story is better than a lot of the crap you read nowadays because it's straightforward, it's direct, it progresses a plot, it develops characters, it's everything a good comic is supposed to be. So if you're a comic book creator and you want to improve your game, this is going to help you do that. I don't care if you're an artist, I don't care if you're a writer, especially if you're a writer though. This can help you. This is written the way a comic book is supposed to be written. It is either developing character or it is progressing plot. And that is what good stories do. They don't sit around drinking coffee, bitching about the way the world is. They're superheroes. They don't have to bitch about the way the world is. They can go fix it. That's what their job is. And so this can help you, young comic book writing wannabe, to fix the comic book industry because that's what your job is. Your job is not to make people reflect on the woes of society today in this first world nation. Your job is to move the needle. Your job is to make people want to buy the next issue. This will help you learn how to do that. Bullpen Bulletins, Stan Soapbox, Stan Lee, John Romita. Check this out. Remember all the strips you guys did together? Yeah, but that was before we became dignified and mature, John Romita says. Now Stan and I have serious stuff on our minds. Right, Johnny. We've got to act our age. They walk away and look, they're wearing silly shirts. Enough said. Great little bullpen comic strip right here. And then you get to this one. The classic Tom DeFalco crappy strip that's only funny to people that work at Marvel. I read this whole thing and I just could not believe that over half a page was wasted on this stupid shit right here. Stupid. I'm not going to read it. You go ahead and get this copy for yourself and read it. And then we get to this. This is actually really cool. So this is Cable's guide to different characters in X-Force. And it's written from Cable's perspective, which is really cool. It covers Deadpool and Feral and Shatterstar and Bridge, G.W. Bridge, George W. Bridge. So, and this is the one I want to read because I didn't know who Bridge was. And I couldn't recall this, I hadn't read this comic in 25 years, so you got to forgive me. But it's neat that this is written from Cable's perspective. This is good writing too. There were times, and then there were times. Didn't I say somewhere else that the past is best left buried? Maybe I lied, or maybe I changed my mind. There was a time when a young man named Bridge was part of an elite mercenary outfit called the Wild Pack. Well, he's not so young anymore, but he's still a part of something elite-like and mercenary-like. It's called the Elite Establishment. Bridge is a commander in S.H.I.E.L.D. Who would have thought S.H.I.E.L.D's part of the swamp? Wow. Word has it that he's so good at what he does that he no longer has to report in to anybody and can set his own agenda. Unfortunately, his agenda often contradicts with my own. We were part of something pretty fun back then. I called him Sammy Davis Sr. It involves a long story about the Wild Pack being compared to the Rat Pack, which included Sammy Davis Jr., and Sammy was a small guy, and Bridge is about 32 feet tall. Just forget about it. See, today, you'd get in trouble for writing this. You'd be called racist for comparing him to Sammy Davis Sr. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. And this is actually a pretty good joke because Sammy Davis Jr. was a little guy, and this guy is 32 feet tall. And so he would be Sammy Davis Sr. You get it? Because he's the bigger of the two. He called me Old Blue Eye, a Cyclopean reference to Frank Sinatra, which is actually really funny, because we all know Cable only has the one eye, right? So he's not, they called Frank Sinatra Old Blue Eyes. But this, because he's only got the one, he's Old Blue Eye. I get it, and I think it's funny. And I realize it makes me probably a racist and a homophobe and a bigot and a Trump supporter, but whatever. You know, that's funny. I don't care who you are. I'm explaining myself to a computer diary. There were 6 of us, and we raised cane all over the world. So apparently they were in a sugar cane industry, probably in Cuba. They're not going to mention that because of the embargo, but apparently they were growing sugar cane all over the world. Oh, I'm just kidding. I know what it means to raise cane. If you don't know, you need to Google it. Actually, don't Google it. Go ahead and DuckDuckGo it. Dogpile it. There were 6 of us, and we raised cane all over the world. We had a party. We got drunk a lot. We made some money. I called it my geographical initiation phase. I had to learn as much about the world order, economically and sociologically, in as short as time as possible. So what better way than working to destabilize most of the political systems in the country for cold, hard cash? So basically, in the old days, bridge and cable were George Soros trying to destabilize different countries around the world in order to make themselves profit and increase their power. Things are still cold and hard, but it's not cash anymore. It's life. You do what you have to do, GW. But if your agenda comes crashing, butt screaming, spittle slapping right into mine, I'll do what I have always done. I'll survive, no matter what the cost. So that's pretty cool. You get an ad for Deathlock, which doesn't do anything for me. This is basically like a zombie who's also a cyborg. Did I say cyborg? Did I say DC Comics cyborg? You figure it out for yourself. Cablegrams. So in this first edition of Cablegrams, they answer questions that they got from fans regarding New Mutants number 100. And I'm going to read one of these. But I also want to point out that you see X-Force is just the beginning of a revolution in the X titles. We've said changes were in the wind before, but this time it's more like a hurricane. In August, X-Men number 1 will appear on your newsstand or comic specialty shop, heralding the birth of a new, larger X-Men team. When the original X-Men, Cyclops, Beast, Marvel Girl, Angel, and Iceman, return to the team that in their hearts they always belonged to. And who made it? Chris Claremont and Jim Lee. And there's a little taste. It was coming in August. Now remember when I said this sold 5 million copies. Think about that. Think about that. 5 million copies. Okay, but now we get to, now we go back in here. X-Men number 1 by Jim Lee and Chris Claremont. How many did that sell? 8 million copies. Can you believe that? They sold 5 million of this bad boy, and then they turn around a month later, they sell 8 million of this bad boy, and this is, I mean, this is it. This is, you want to talk about how to hashtag move the needle. You're looking at it right now. You release great comic books like X-Force with stunning art and a great story, and then you release X-Men number 1 with stunning art and a great story, and you're all of a sudden attracting 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old boys from all over the world to your comic book. And that's how you do it. Now, I real quick want to go through this. Dear crew, first off, this is the very first time in years, a lot of years, that I've written to a title. Seeing the New Mutants grow and evolve into one of the best and hottest titles of the year was one of the best experiences of the year. Then I got the news, the harsh news, that there would be no more after issue number 100. I was in shock, total shock. To be honest, I really wasn't looking forward to issue number 100. But when I got it and read it, I really enjoyed it. I was at ease when I finished that last remarkable page. Yes, it was the end of a great series, but it was also the beginning of what I think will be one of the hottest and most impressive titles for 1991, X-Force. With the addition of some new and more mysterious characters, it's bound to be a sure thing. One last thing, Mr. Liefeld and crew. Keep up the excellent work. May the X-Force be with you. Tommy Butcher II. Right now to West Virginia. Thank you, Tommy, for such a great letter. And that is why I'm going to recommend to all of you beautiful people out there in Webtown to go pick up X-Force number 1. I'm going to suggest that you pick up Rob's run on New Mutants, beginning with issue 86, going all the way through number 100. I am going to tell you, you're not going to be able to find a couple issues because the first appearance of Deadpool was in the New Mutants, and that issue goes for like $800 now. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to find that, but maybe you can figure out how to get it in a digital version so that you can still enjoy it. And then go pick up Rob's run on X-Force with Fabian Nicieza, who wrote a great story here that went perfectly with Rob's dynamic artwork. And you are going to begin to learn how to do what? How to move the needle. You're gonna want comic books to return to this when you're done reading it. And most of all, you're gonna chart the evolution of Rob Liefeld's career from being a penciler on New Mutants to creating his own team, to creating his own comic book, to creating his own company. Youngblood, Image Comics. That's what I'm talking about. In fact, that's what I'm talking about on the next episode of this totally awesome comic review series from Testosterone Overload. We are going to continue to chart the course of Liefeld's career. We are going to continue to learn what it takes to move the needle in the comic book industry. And it's because of great comics like this. It came in a poly bag. It came with a cool Shatterstar card that gives us cool information. Bioengineered to be the ultimate warrior, Shatterstar came to this dimension seeking the help of the mutant team called the X-Men. Chased by Imperial soldiers from his home world, Shatterstar was aided by the X-Force team in repelling the attack. Finding himself stranded in this dimension indefinitely, Shatterstar is sworn to use his strength, fighting prowess, and swift sword arm in the service of the X-Men. Side note, did you know that Shatterstar comes from the same dimension as the acrobatic alien called Longshot, only 100 years in the future? This is exactly what it takes. You put out, and I want you to go to Indiegogo right now and you check out the other guys who in 2018 are moving the needle. You're going to find out that Uncle Ethan Van Sciver, Richard, my boy Zach from Diversity in Comics, who's making Jawbreakers, Lost Souls. You're going to find Mitch Breitweiser and his lovely wife Elizabeth, who are making Red Rooster. They're now doing cards to put with their comics because that's what makes it fun. It's about fun. It's about escapism. It's about being able to forget about my problems in life. You know, when I was a kid, I was fat, man. I grew up fat. Now I'm 6'1", 230 pounds, and you do not want to mess with me. But when I was a kid, I was chubby and I was ruthlessly picked on. And it was comic books like this that helped me forget about that until I got to the point when it was time to stand up to a bully and put them in their place, because I was taught that by my father and by comic books, that you stand up to bullies. And if you have to, you bloody their lip. And that's what stops them. And that did stop a bully, actually. He never messed with me again. And nobody ever messed with me again, in fact, after I stood up to one bully. All the other bullies were like, whoa, whoa, legit will punch you in the mouth. He doesn't care. You're right, you're right. After years, I stopped caring. And it was time to stand up and do what my boy Cable would have done. So this is it, man. I mean, I can't find a better example of a comic book that will move the needle than X-Force. You know, I guess the one example that's better is X-Men #1 by Jim Lee, because it sold, you know, 3 million more copies than X-Force #1. So if you want to move the needle, I suggest that you study up what it takes. Great art, sexy chicks, cool looking characters that are new and original, finding yourself. If you're an artist, find yourself a great writer who can help develop your characters with you, or has characters of his own that he wants you, or she wants you, to draw. And that's when you're going to start to move the needle. And, you know, marketing is a huge part of it. That's why you need to go look at what Uncle Ethan is doing. You need to look at what Mitch Breitweiser is doing. You need to look at what Tim Lim is doing from Trump Space Force. You need to look at what my boy Zach did with Jawbreakers Lost Souls. Follow their formulas and you will find success. But you will only find success if you have great art and a great story. Because no matter how much you hype your book, if it's not good, no one's gonna wanna buy it. One guy's gonna buy it and he's gonna tell all 10 of his friends, nah, it sucked, save your money, wait till next month. And you'll flop. So, these are all some great ways for you to begin the process of doing what? Hashtag move the needle. You want your comic to be great? You know, you've got the game plan. I've laid it out here right now. Ethan is laying it out right now in another video, I'm sure, on his channel, Comic Artist Pro Secrets. That umbrella guy, he's laying it out in a video today too, on how you can succeed or how you can fail. Everybody, Yellow Flash, my boy Zach, they are all trying to encourage you to do what Rob Liefeld did with this comic book, and that is hashtag move the needle. Get fans interested in you. Make the people notice you. And that's all I got to say today. I had a great time covering this. I'm so happy to have opened this out of a poly bag. You know, 25 years in the future. Still holds up today, as you clearly saw. And I cannot wait to get to the next one. So, we're going to cover Youngblood, I think. I think we're going to cover Youngblood next. And I look forward to talking to you all more about totally awesome comic books that do what? That move the needle right here on Testosterone Overload.